hopefully. Can't spell Jones, but I'm doing my best. There we go. Right. Step both of those. So, in. Certainly is Numbskull. So, Ben Jones, multiple-time Pro Tour competitor, GP champion, very good player. It's not a done deal for Will. Will is obviously very good as well. It's not a done deal. Blue Black Murktide can be a little iffy at times. If they draw well, Psychic Frog's quite a problem if Will can't draw Static Prisons for them. So I think Psychic Frog's going to be the key card here, going into this, where if Ben can stabilize behind it, it can accrue a whole lot of value real quickly. Ben is playing Blue-Black Murktide, yes. So, harkening back to his days of playing a whole lot of Grixis Death Shadow. We had a little chat earlier. He came in and joined us. Had a little discussion. Why aren't you playing Death Shadow? That sort of thing. So he turned around and said, well, I'd rather play things that actually do something in 2024 Modern. So, we'll wait and see how this all shakes out. So let's have a little look-see. Players just getting set up. So Giganta is the companion for Boros Energy. So we saw that used to really good effect by Aaron Boyan earlier in the day, where Aaron beat Jeskai Control using Giganta quite heavily. Will, not a huge fan. When we had a brief chat with him, he sat down, he thought, I'm not enjoying just essentially telling my opponents what deck I'm playing. So there are costs to playing companions. Ben rocking out the Pro Tour mat. The 25th anniversary, obviously. It's his go-to mat for these high-level competitions, and just because we've got a little local RCQ doesn't mean the player level was any lower today than it has any right being. Will showing us his hand. What a little doll. I assume he's keeping that one. That was lands and spells. So, a little bit of interaction there. Always loves being on camera, Will. So, Sacred Foundry, Ragavan. Ragavan, it's a must-answer threat on turn 1. It's not something that you can just let go for ever and ever and ever, because it does accrue a lot of value. So, Fatal Push on the Ragavan right away. Just getting that answered. Taking the life loss to shock in a land, it's just worth doing. So, Will's draw step was another Sacred Foundry. So, Aether Hub, Amped Raptor. So, 3 energy for this Amped Raptor. That's where we like to be for those. Will does play Blood Moon mainboard, so Subtlety, pitching a Sink into Stupor on the Amped Raptor, just to slow down Will's development a little bit. We'll wait and see if he tops or bottoms this Amped Raptor. We did see an Ajani in hand as well. So Amped Raptor going back on top, understands its value in the matchup, it being a 2-for-1 against a deck that likes to 1-for-1 quite a lot, is where we want to be. So Will just recasting the Amped Raptor, meets a Spell Snare. Sacred Foundry tapped and the turn passed, so I assume Ben is going to be finding an Undercity Sewers here. Getting their Surveil on. 2 spells in the graveyard for Murktide currently. That's something that is worthwhile tracking. So between Murktide and Psychic Frog, there's quite a lot of demands on the Boros Energy deck to be playing hard removal, not necessarily the Galvanic Discharge, Lightning Bolt type removal. It's requiring static prisons, that sort of thing. So Ben's surveilling. Just considering his options there. Puts the Bowmasters into the graveyard. If I was in Will's seat, I would feel very nervous because Bowmasters is good in this matchup. It pings down an Ocelot Pride, and it can nab Amped Raptors, that sort of thing. And the damage is relevant. The 2 bodies are definitely relevant as well to be blockers. So, Murktide played out 2 counters. That is a 5/5. Will has 1 energy available, so Galvanic Discharge is not good enough at present. 2 mana, playing out an Amped Raptor, seeing if this one resolves. Will probably hoping for a Blood Moon. Goblin Bombardment is the hit. Will just deciding whether to actually cast this or not, because having 3 energy available means that Galvanic Discharge in hand can kill this Murktide if it's not cast. So the ideal there would be Will hits a 1-drop, so an Ocelot Pride, that sort of thing, maybe another Ragavan. Will is going for the Goblin Bombardment. Potentially, no, just passing the turn. Okay, so Will taking it a little bit slower. At 18 life, knows that he can take a little bit of time, taking the 5 damage. Dave is rejoining me as we speak as well. Hey, no, that's my seat. I said to Dave earlier when we did the commentary on Will Hall stream, I sat on the right hand side of him, and it's like sides of the bed.
It's like this. It's this the whole time.
I can't be on that side. It's like sides of the bed.
Hi, Nerdy Steve. Good to see you, friend. I do follow your X account and your journey.
Twitter.
Sorry, your Twitter account and your journey. So appreciate you being here. And yeah, the Will Hall is currently playing, I guess, the Ben Jones as well in this round. Will can kill the Merc, the Bomb, and the Discharge. Yeah.
Yeah. So Will can discharge the Murktide and throw the Amped Raptor to get there. What we might see is, if that Ajani resolved, you could throw the 2/1 cat and discharge. So we'll wait and see. Ben's got 2 cards in hand and 2 mana available. So going for a Galvanic Discharge here, not the most comfortable place to be. So going for the Galvanic Discharge first, obviously. Seeing if this resolves. If this resolves, we can just deal the 4 damage to it and then throw the Amped Raptor. That'll be a fine state of affairs. It leaves Will with no board, 1 card in hand. Ben's low on cards in hand as well, but the Murktide is dealt with.
And we're nearly there, chat. One thing we're going to be doing once we resolve this game, we're going to be doing a Magic Online code giveaway. So if you're not already following, drop us a follow. And also, we are very close to being in a position to award an additional Cavern of Souls to the winner, an actual WPM Premium yellow Illuminous Cavern. So shout out Numbskill, shout out Pals 78. Thank you very much. And if you'd like to hear more of this, we do a lot of this content on YouTube. You can go !YouTube, where you can actually find where we'll do our podcasts and we do our things over there. Yeah, appreciate you all being here again. Appreciate Will being here and doing really well because obviously people
Can't stop winning.
Will is currently, we worked it out. Will is currently on a very good win record in the store. I don't want to say war because obviously that is really bad jinx in Mojo. But it's a win-win, right? Because our store is very, very conveniently close to a Nando's. So if anyone knows Will Hall well, he has a lot of loves in Magic. He loves Magic and he loves Nando's. Sorry, he has Magic and Lorcana and Nando's. So
I stayed up late last night watching the Pokemon World Championships as well.
Yeah. It's a good meta at the moment, Pokemon. Shout out Ogapon. I do love that card. Not Scott's looking at me like cross-eyed about playing another card game.
I spend far too much money on Magic to play another one. So, Will needs to find an answer for this Murktide. Hasn't found one just yet. So going down to 3 is not the place that we want to be. So, Ben, 4 mana available, passes the turn back. We could be seeing Subtlety, we could be seeing Force of Negation.
Play Star Wars. Ban. No, Star Wars is cool. Cool collector.
I will time you out. So, Will gets in for 3, gains a life, plays an Arid Mesa. Fetches. Does not have another Surveil land.
I think once. Yeah, I was going to say, is looking to surveil Fine Flage? Yeah, it does.
Does have 2.
Is hoping for a Flage. I think it's like Flage or bust here.
2 Elegant Parlors is pretty aggressive, but evidently top 8 in the Mega Modern did well for him. He realised the power of Elegant Parlor and how often that he finds it. So, is this a Flage? That was a white card.
That was not a Flage.
I think that was an Ajani.
Which is the thought. It is actually almost worse now because...
So, I believe does Will have a Lightning Bolt in hand?
Or Hadouken, as we know it.
I'm not sure what that last card in hand is. So that was Guide of Souls. So if Will has a Lightning Bolt, he can kill the Murktide.
Yes.
And have nothing left.
But the Murktide's gonna...
3 mana.
Murktide's gonna murk him.
Picks up Gigantha.
Yeah. I think they have it. There's a trigger here. Yeah. Yeah.
Ben had the counter spell either way, so that was never going to work for them. So, game 1 going to Mr. Ben Jones. That's who will, on our stream, said that he wanted to block from making it. It's not going too well for him so far.
No, I know.
1 game down.
But this is a repeat of the quarterfinal of the Axion Megamodern.
Ben was on Nardu that time and did beat Will.
But it's a repeat of competition.
Repeat of players, not necessarily the matchup. So if Ben can beat Will on Murktide as well as on Nardu, I think we would all have to hold our hands up and say that Ben Jones was better than Will.
And he literally becomes like the enemy end boss of Twitch chat everywhere, doesn't he? like whereas we were all like shouting and cheering for Ben as one of our top locals, like whenever they now appear in the regional championships anywhere, like Twitch chat will be booing. Like
we'll keep him on camera. We'll wait and see how he does in Sheffield. See how he does in the Axion Now Invitational, which both of these players are qualified for.
What a standard today that we've got people who are... We had... Just giving out the prizes, we have multiple Pro Tour players and multiple Axion top 8 players not made the top 8 today.
Mm-hmm.
That's the standard of play that we have. It's incredible.
It's not bad, is it?
Incredible. And shout out to you from Twitch chat if you are here. And again, after this particular match, we will be doing Magic Online giveaway. You'll need to be a follower. Ideally, we'd be a YouTube subscriber as well. You can do !YouTube to get that. But we will be giving away 120 play points. So, yeah, feel free to... we do Magic content. We may have shared us earlier this month on Will's stream, holding that up on his year. We'll be also following up in Axion in September.
7th and 8th of September?
I don't think we're doing the 8th. We might play the 8th, but the 7th is when we're commentating.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
What?
I might not have the money to play the 8th.
So what does... It's a very balanced matchup, this, right? Will has answers. Ben has answers. So I think Will needs to take a line of, I'm going to aggro out game 2 and then we're going to go to game 3 here. There's no defensive stance to sideboard into.
These are the kinds of matches we want to see in Modern post-ban, right? Where
yes,
we've got 2 inherently very fair decks. There's no One Rings in sight. Nope. Even though I have seen certain players doing quite well with Boros Energy with 4 the One Ring in.
Shout out Young Dingo.
No One Rings in sight. No Nardu in sight. So, maybe a little window into what we're going to be seeing post-ban.
Could be Frogtide Winter.
Frogtide Winter.
Oh. Chat, we've been live for 5.5 hours. Forgive our puns.
Can't be any worse than some of the stuff you've been coming out with today.
Yeah.
Hashtag homie handshake.
Hashtag homie handshake is literally gonna break things. Oh, funny times.
It's not quite.
So, Will, I really hope we don't see any like mulligans down to 5 or something.
No, I hope we see an actual game here, right? Where we just want to see games of Magic. That first game was balanced on a knife edge.
Balanced on a knife edge, yes. Yeah.
Rapidly becoming my catchphrase. So
we got 2 on Ragavan, hopefully there.
There's a Blood Moon as well. Those are the 2 we like to see. So Ocelot Pride going to the bottom. That's an admission from Will that Orcish Bowmasters is very, very, very good.
Yes.
So Ragavan played. We saw this last game where it got promptly fatal pushed.
These two know what's coming. I love that.
As soon as that Watery Grave comes in untapped, Will knows exactly what's happening. So Elegant Parlor, Surveilling.
That's in the turn.
So Will getting slightly punished for the double Elegant Parlor in his list here, because I can see another one in hand.
Right, okay. Yeah, that doesn't go well when you're trying to curve out with speed, right?
Ajani, this is probably meeting a counterspell.
Yep.
Spell Snap.
Spell
okay. So that
such a powerful card with it in this post-ball matchup as well.
Certainly, yeah. But it's a lot of Boros's power comes from its 2 drops. So just a basic island found that's Ben making an admission to Blood Moon being present in Will's deck. We can see one in hand as well. So Ocelot Pride going to the bin. Will's hand is Plains Blood Moon Galvanic Discharge. That is not really the place that we want to be. Both threats that he kept in hand have been answered now. So let's see where we can get to here.
You know, Ben Soul's certainly playing quite a bit of defense here, and knowing that Will can turn the corner very, very quickly with this deck. And
a resolved Amped Raptor off the top. If Ben's short a counter spell, something like that, this game looks very, very different.
And what happens really, like when you're getting everything countered like you are, like suddenly a Flage, boom, we're back in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if Will was to draw an Arena of Glory at some point as well, where that can come out with haste. So another island found. Not the best place for this deck. Often they want to double spell with a Bowmasters and Fatal Push, that sort of thing. But Ben making the admission that casting some spells is better than casting 0 in the face of a Blood Moon. So Murktide played out, no protection. Knows that Will would have to have a Static Prison or double spell to kill this. So Blood Moon. Does it meet a Force of Negation? I think Ben just pointing out that
doesn't matter.
He has 2 islands.
Yeah. That was almost an offer from Ben of, are you sure?
Yeah. So Murktide crashing in for 5. Will is on a 4-turn clock to deal with this. We know about the 1 Galvanic Discharge in hand. If this goes anything like game 1, it's going to be this Murktide will bleed Will. And
buying Gigantha?
So putting Gigantha in hand, nothing else to be doing right now.
Will has not had the tempo that this deck has been given all day, right?
No, it's been play 1, drop it, gets answered. Miss on 2, which was I think the pivotal moment here was that Elegant Parlor. If that Elegant Parlor was a Sacred Foundry, it's a much different game where we have a resolved Ajani instead.
I think so. I agree.
So Murktide in for another 5. Will down to 5, has 1 turn left. The way Ben passed that turn back, you've got to expect counterspell plus Force Negation, that sort of thing.
You feel it, right?
1 Static Prison.
Is it happening, Ben? Is it happening?
I think Ben's deciding whether to use the counterspell or it resolves.
Okay,
so
is that the corner turned?
Oh, maybe. Ben's got a lot of cards in hand. So Will's hope here is that Ben's hand is Bowmasters, Frogs, Fatal Pushes, and Inquisitions.
Which does nothing to what Will has, right?
Yeah, certainly. There's no counterspell. There's no Force of Negation. We know that, otherwise that Static Prison would not have resolved. Ben just passing the turn back.
So quickly as well.
The Gigantha that Will was complaining about at length, about informing his opponent what deck that he's on.
We will have that.
Is the real threat here.
If this becomes the beatdown, we'll have to have that clip like for the rest of their life. Actually, just holding up.
So, Ajani being cast. The Ajani has resolved. 2-1 Cat Warrior created. So, much more reasonable clock on board here. If I am reading that correctly, Ben is at 6.
Yeah.
If I'm reading the notepad correctly,
Ben
is dead.
Wow. Okay.
And we go to game 3.
Go to game 3.
Unbelievable, Jeff. Just proves it, doesn't it? Never give up. Never concede early.
Never give up. Never give in. Never don't put Giganta in your sideboards. That's the
I think we might need to have a quick check-in with Will about how he feels about Giganta after this match.
yeah, absolutely.
We'll ask him, shall we?
Absolutely. Gonna have to keep an eye on the score. What's going on in the scores? Okay, so let me go. Whilst this game is resolving, chat, I'm heading out and making sure we've got the details for everyone.
Dave is the TO for this RCQ, just context. So he is simultaneously.
I made today happen.
He is simultaneously helping run the RCQ along with our wonderful Judge Minnow, while helping to run this Twitch stream. So, youtube.com/oldemadave. If you're liking what you're hearing, we do commentary over Paper Modern, Paper Pioneer, Paper Standard at times. We might try and get some Pauper and Legacy on there at some point, and we are also doing some Magic Online content, courtesy of the lovely folks at Daybreak Games and Wizards of the Coast. We have a creator account, so we can run all sorts of unhinged things through leagues and then bring our findings to you wonderful people if you want to listen. Just going to be popping a link in that there Twitch chat. That is the link to our YouTube if you do like what you're hearing. And if we hit certain follower and subscriber goals today, well, during this top 8, we will be adding extra things to the prize pools for the players. So we've got some WPM Premium Cavern of Souls that we'd really, really like to give away. So if we hit those, the players will be getting something a little bit extra for the playing today. So, into game 3, we've seen 2 very close games so far. Will starting with a Ragavan on turn 1. Ben not fatal pushing it this time, just finding an Undercity Sewers. So, getting their Surveil on. So Will down to 18, Ben down to 19. As we've seen in these last 2 games, the life totals can go to 0 very quickly. Let's have a little look-see. So, Fatal Push was surveilled into the graveyard because Ben already had the Orcish Bowmasters. So Fetch gets the land, gets the Bowmasters, gets the 2 1/1s, and deals with the Ragavan quite nicely. So, you can see a Guide of Souls, Goblin Bombardment, Galvanic Discharge, maybe Ocelot Pride. So, Goblin Bombardment being played out while Ben's shields are down. That can deal with both sides of the Bowmasters quite nicely. It's also very good at flipping over an Ajani, and if that happens, it's quite difficult for Ben to deal with. A resolved or flipped Planeswalker is not the kind of thing that these decks are set up to beat very often. So Ben playing a Scalding Tarn, getting in for 2. Goblin Bombardment, an enchantment for 1 and a red that says sacrifice a creature, deal 1 damage to any target. So, very good at flipping over an Ajani, very good at utilizing all the random chaff tokens that this deck can sometimes create with an Ocelot Pride running with a Guide of Souls, that sort of thing. So Arena of Glory is in the lands for Will. That is worth noting. That is a card that we've seen win a couple of games today. Aaron Boyne used it to great effect to haste both an Amped Raptor and a Ragavan. So Guide of Souls being played out. Ragavan triggering the Guide of Souls. So Will gaining life. And gaining an energy. Dave has returned to us.
That quick run around the room where you go like, do I need to? No, you're on Discord. I have you. I know you. Just making sure everybody gets paid basically for the day. So, shout out Troll Trader for providing a boost to today's prize pool. If you ever need to get your singles, trolltrader.cards.co.uk. Great site. How are we looking? What's the board state? Even Steven.
Balanced on a knife.
Balanced on a night mode. Bombardment in play.
Yeah, so that was snuck out on turn 2 after Ben played a Bowmasters to kill a Ragavan. So
we are just really... Will's got mana. Ben's got cards in hand.
It
is balanced on a knife edge.
It certainly is. All memes aside, it certainly is. So, Ben finding a Surveil land. Leaving it on top and untapping. That's not what I'd want to see if I was Will. So, Inquisition of Kozilek was the draw, I believe. So, Will very helpfully indicating that he would block the Orcish Bowmasters with Guide of Souls if Ben were to attack. So, Inquisition of Kozilek played out. It looks like the hand is Amped Raptor, Galvanic Discharge, Static Prison. So, Amped Raptor, the only threat, but Galvanic Discharge and Static Prison not looking at their best. Static Prison taken, that kind of indicates to me that Ben is going to be playing out a Murktide region.
I think so. And then looking to counter the Galvanic Discharge, right?
Potentially, it might be a Spell Snare on the Amped Raptor to stunt the energy growth.
Right, yeah, possibly.
So we did see Cling to Dust mainboard as well. We did have a brief chat with Ben earlier. He's playing 2 of those mainboard where it's really good against Flage. He's very well geared for the Boros energy matchup. But let's see. I think if we were to play a Murktide, it would have 3 counters on it if Ben is willing to exile that Cling to Dust and not escape it. So Murktide Regent played. So the 2 counters is easy. So Ben going for a 5/5 Murktide, not exiling that Cling to Dust. Wants to sit back on that, utilize it, utilize the cards in graveyard. So escaping it can actually grow a Murktide that's on board. That's relevant.
Yep. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Yuski and Barrel and Numbskull. Everyone who's followed, appreciate you. We've obviously got it off because obviously, ideally, these videos are going to be up on YouTube after the fact. But thank you to everyone. Loads more Magic content coming on this channel. But sorry, we have a counter.
So Galvanic Discharge, dealing 4 damage to the Murktide and then sacrificing the Ragavan to throw it at the Murktide to deal with that 5/5.
Fair.
So, probably see Amped Raptor played out here. Will just deciding whether to
not yet
exert that Arena of Glory yet.
Yeah, not yet, Kaldek. We'll get this game started and got excited way quickly.
We are going to have a Magic Online Play Points giveaway just after this match. So, Spell Snare on the Amped Raptor. I continue to be clairvoyant.
It was set up for it though, right? We could see that was on its way.
Fatal Push the Guide of Souls. Sacrifice to the Goblin Bombardment to deal with the Orcish Bowmasters. We've had a big trade-off of resources. Ben is left with a 1/1 Orc army. That is 2 spells. Ben just deciding still whether to exile that Cling to Dust or not. He has been very close. Yeah, so is exiling the Cling to Dust. These are the things that can make or break these games. When they're balanced very finely, making a 6/6 Murktide might be significantly different to making a 5/5. In this case, it's just getting Static Prison. So, back to the board state where Ben has a 1/1. And Will is picking up the Gigantha again. So
surely we're not in a position where Gigantha is going to actually be impactful 2 games in a row.
Certainly could be. So Psychic Frog, the play for Ben. That's a card that we haven't seen so far. Pays for the Static Prison. Galvanic Discharge was the draw. There might be a question asked here of how many cards does Ben have in hand? So meets the counter spell on upkeep. Discards the land to Psychic Frog just to get the extra point. Will down to 11. Ben still at 16. Blood Moon is potentially the worst draw in Will's deck here. So, doesn't deal with the Psychic Frog, doesn't present any pressure, isn't a threat, doesn't get him closer to casting Gigantha. Watery Grave discarded to the Psychic Frog to grow it once more. Just confirmation of life totals happening. So, Ben with 4 points on board. Surgical discarded as well. That makes this a 2-turn clock. That puts Will down to 6.
The Frog is such a difficult... It's so difficult to get rid of.
You would need a Static Prison here. But Will is out of energy, so even that Murktide is coming back next turn. The Ocelot Pride can stop the 1/1, but we might see this Frog given flying. And the game is over. Will's blocking was unsuccessful.
That's incredible. GG to Will, though. Great run.
Good attempt, but Ben continues to be his bugbear. Great play from both players, though, there. See, when Nardu goes, these are the kinds of matches we might be getting.
Alright, chat. I think I've sorted it. Use ! raffle in the chat if you want to win 120 play points. Only things you can't be part of the Magic Online Creator Fund already. Comment. Also, ideally, get extra luck if you go and follow this link and go and sub to our YouTube channel. If you would like to be part of it, get in there. Let's give it on for 10 minutes. So if you would like the points, get involved, and we will be hooking it up. This has been a great stream so far. It's been great to see Will play, Ben play. Good result. We will be moving on to semis shortly. Semi-finals, that is.